The Square Ball Podcast.
Hello there and welcome to the show. This is the update from the Square Ball, which is available in your podcast app and on YouTube, and it is brought to you by Levi's Solicitors, who will give you a 10% discount on your legal services if you go to www.levisolicitors.co.uk. Michael, it is conveyancing week. Are you still buzzed about it? Still excited?
I am. Do you know how many houses they've sold due to us, I'll say, or conveyanced? I don't know what you call it exactly.
Hadn't it hit something like 600?
Yeah, over 600.
Isn't that good?
That's good. And so you should do the same if you're buying a house or selling a house or buying and selling a house, because you don't want to sell one and not want to live in, do you?
Well, this is the thing. I've got a small quiz for you.
Oh, okay.
It's conveyancing week. Levi's Solicitors offer 5 different and slightly different services within conveyancing. Name the 5 of them for a prize.
Oh. 5 different services within conveyancing?
Apparently, yeah, they're all listed here. You can get quotes for 5 different things. Go on, boy.
I'm more of a big picture man.
I get that, but let's drill down into the detail.
I mean, I can't name one of them.
You can't name one of them. I'll kick you off. Buying a property. There's one.
Oh, right. Oh, buying a property, selling a property.
Yep.
Renting a property.
No. What if you combine those two?
Property, buying and selling.
Buying and selling, yeah.
Oh, come on. They've created an extra one there.
Do you think they're padding the website?
That's 2 in 1.
There's 2 more.
Buying and selling and then buying another.
No.
These are all just combinations.
Commercial property.
No. What if you've got a property, but you need to do something with it to then create some...
renovation?
Remortgage is what you're looking for.
Okay.
And what if you are trying to get some cash out of your house?
Equity release? Transfer
of equity. So you didn't win the prize. The prize was my respect, so there is now no respect.
Never mind.
On the show today, Michael Normanson, and opposite me is Chris Mack. Welcome, gents. So yeah, this is the update. There's not that much to go on, but I do have a list of our 15 internationals who have shuffled away from Thorpe Arch this week to go and apply their trade abroad. Darko JB's on this list. Does he count as ours still?
Technically.
I ain't seen him all season. Charlie Cruz here, but he feels like he's been in the building. There's Sam Chambers, Diego Montero, Rory Mahadi, Willie Nonto, Matteo Joseph are all away with their under teams. And then there's Mana Solomon, Junior Firpo, Ilya Gruev, Altanaka, Isaac Schmidt, Darlow, Rodon, James. Who is the person we're most worried about getting injured here?
Diego Montero. Still don't really know who he is or why we bought him. Was he Victor Orta's last signing?
One of.
Probably certainly. One of, yeah.
No, that might be Weston McKennie.
Oh, yeah. Even better, yeah. Yeah, fair enough.
Well, actually, just as we're recording now, Japan are about to play Bahrain.
Are they really?
A big game. I've got the stream up here.
Is he playing?
No, I haven't. He's on the bench.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. Stay there.
Let's just not play him at all. And Wales under-19s played last night. I'm sure he's both watched it.
Yep.
Charlie Crew started. They lost 2-0 to England.
Boo.
And Sam Chambers came off the bench for half an hour against France under-19s, and they drew 0-0. It's a pretty good result for Scotland,
result.
I think.
Yeah, definitely.
So we want Tanaka to come back fine. James, Rodon, Firpo, Solomon.
We basically want none of them to play, don't we?
Yeah.
Is the real aim of this. But they will, because you've got to think Firpo will definitely play. Solomon will definitely play. James and Rodon will. None of the big players are going to get a rest, are they? You wouldn't have thought, other than Tanaka, who seems to have been given at least a bit of a break in this one.
Yeah, I mean, a World Cup qualifier against Kazakhstan, I think they should just mix it up.
Yeah. And it's different to last season. I've just remembered this international break last season, Wales were playing qualifiers, weren't they? The playoff rounds to get into the Euros.
Yeah.
So they were big games. This feels a little bit less so.
Yeah.
And they lost that as well, didn't they, on pens?
Yeah, it went to extra time, didn't it? And it went the full... It was as bad as it could be, basically. It went all the way, and then Dan James missed a penalty, and it was a bit like, oh, well, great stuff. And didn't Connor Roberts come back injured from that break as well?
Possibly.
I've got a feeling there was we picked up an injury across that period as well.
Right.
Even though he was not necessarily a key player, he was a nice option for us, wasn't he? At that stage.
But even just them not coming back with loads of disappointment, unless they get smashed by Kazakhstan, hopefully just keep their heads up heading into the last 8 games. Do we care about international football?
Oh, really.
It's a bit of an unwelcome distraction at the minute.
Is it
Not even a
unwelcome?
distraction.
Is it unwelcome? I kind of feel like as a fan base, we might have just needed a little.
I think a
reset.
break's nice, but why not just have a break?
Okay,
No international football.
Yeah.
just turn the internet off for 2 weeks.
Exactly. Just say, look, it's an off week. Everyone do your own thing, and that's nice. That's nice for everyone.
It seems like Brendy's doing his own thing.
He's gone back to Medford.
Yeah.
Hasn't he? Yeah, he's gone back to his hometown.
Good to see him staying at home and resting, and
He's going out for coffee and having pictures taken.
How do you know this?
It's the same thing he does when he's in Harrogate. I don't know why he's bothered going out. He's just being forced out for iced coffees with his girlfriend.
Yeah, it seems strange that he wasn't chosen for the USA team, and he's just decided to fly a rake anyway. Who signed off on this?
I wouldn't have done. I'd have kept him at Thorpe Arch.
Where?
Tethered somewhere.
I thought you might.
Tethered to the kitchen. Make him eat some more for the running. Yeah, it does seem a bit annoying that you think, oh, good, he doesn't have to travel, and then he has done anyway. He's like, oh, come on, just go on holiday in England.
Flamingo Land.
I was going to say,
Flamingo Land, yeah.
if you're an American in Europe, why are you going back to America for like 3 or 4 days? Go to Barcelona, go and stare at the Sagrada Familia for a couple of days. I don't know.
Go and stare at possible Ballon d'Or winner, Raphinha.
Hmm?
There was a whole athletic podcast about why Raphinha is going to win the Ballon d'Or the other day. I was like, what?
Was Phil Hay on it?
He was?
Was he?
Yeah, chirping up about Leeds and Champions League.
I think he will.
Do you think he will?
Yeah.
I'd feel a sense of pride about that, and I don't know why he's not our player anymore.
I think it'd be the first Ballon d'Or winner to play for Leeds, right? I'm pretty sure.
Surely Stephen Caldwell got one.
I'd have to go back and check, but I can't think we'd have had any others. I think we didn't get any like very late era players, did we?
No,
don't think so.
I think that is the only one.
That actually would be pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think he's one player that you can say from that era who no one has any bad feeling about.
Zero.
Because generally speaking, you've got a bit of like, oh, I thought it was too good for us and pissed off, or stayed too long, so we got to see him be terrible. Raphinha was just really good and had to suffer the indignity of taking long throw-ins for a time. And
he grafted his ass off towards the end of that season when we were scrabbling around for points. He was brilliant, and the whole walking on his knees at Brentford when we did it is iconic for us.
Yeah, did down tools a little bit at one point, but I like to brush over that and pretend it didn't happen.
But it potentially did, but then
I think everyone did.
And you have to, you can maybe offset it against the sort of general vibe of everything that was going on at the time. It did feel like things were falling apart slightly.
For a blog last week, I was looking up the foul on Dan James against Portsmouth, but I typed in Dan James foul, and the first thing that came up was his red card against Chelsea.
Yeah,
back in that day, and that is a team that have given up. That was
a bad game.
That was a sack the board chanting sort of afternoon, evening.
Dan James did used to have a real reckless streak in him.
Yeah.
He used to get the same yellow card most games as well for just charging into a keeper about 5 seconds after he cleared the ball. It was every week. I quite enjoyed it.
It's because he was playing up front. He was frustrated. He's like, I can't do this. I don't know what I'm doing.
Just run around, Dan. But that was Dan James 1.0 when people were frustrated with him.
Yeah, and he's been brilliant this season. Absolutely superb. Maybe he's a future Ballon d'Or winner.
Which is why he deserves a nice rest in this international break.
Yeah. Just play the kids. Do we need to make sure that we wrap Willie Nonto in cotton wool as well? Just to make sure that Farke has an option on the bench instead of sweet Brendy. Maybe Brendy misses his plane.
Maybe Brendy could be the bench option.
Well, that's exactly. So, but we need Willie to come back ready and raring to go. Yeah,
I assume you actually are paying an interest in Willie Nonto because you're an Italian footballsman.
I'm not going to sit and watch Italy under 21s.
Why not?
I'm not that sad.
I've underestimated you, Chris. I'm sorry.
Although I did use a VPN to watch Coleraine and Cliftonville last night, which is equally pathetic.
People will be desperate to know the score.
It was 2-2.
Ah,
it was actually a good game. I'm not particularly sure that Nonto will actually start.
Good
for Italy under 21s, because they've got quite a few decent options in that area of the pitch, and they tend to play with 2 10s, so he'll maybe play as a 10. I don't think he'll play 90 minutes in either game. He might start one and be benched in the other, which would be probably for the best.
Yeah, start in the first one and then have a nice long rest. But if he's playing as a 10, he's going to get some nice practice in so that he can possibly step into the breach. But yeah, like we've alluded to, in an ideal world, all of these chaps, these 15 internationals, obviously 2 of which are not actually with us at the time, but all of these internationals, they just get some nice air miles and they don't really kick a ball and they come back ready and raring to go fighting. The other thing on the prep sheet, we've had an announcement about our pre-season. And we'll be playing, it says here, the Whites will play the Red Devils, Manchester United Football Club, on Saturday the 19th of July, 3 p.m. local time at the Strawberry Arena, the National Stadium of Sweden. Is that the best name of a stadium on the world?
Kit Kat Crescent was good.
Kit Kat Crescent?
When York used to play there.
Tony Macaroni Arena, I think. Is it Livingston, maybe? It's known as the Spaghetti Hat.
Spaghetti. Terrific. I thought you guys would just smile and nod, but you've trumped it twice. I love that. So this will be the 3rd year out of 6 we've played them in pre-season. Does it dilute it slightly?
I mean, with respect to the people who go to these games and enjoy them, it's not an actual game.
It's kickabout.
It's not a competitive match, is it? Like, we've lost to scum in these games. Lost 4-0 in one of them, didn't we? I think it was maybe the summer of promotion. Was it that
one? It was 2019-20.
Yeah, so it was when we'd just gone up and it was a bit like, oh, we're playing scum. Let's see if this is interesting.
Yeah.
Lost 4-0 and I went, it's not mad, does it?
I think I don't even think Bielsa wanted to go to that one.
No. I don't think he generally had time for the sort of money-based friendlies, did he? He was a bit like, stupid. I'd rather just keep him at Thorpe Arch going around that track rather than have us swanning about aimlessly at the other side of the world. I don't know. I suppose it's as money spinning friendlies go, it's relatively palatable. I suppose it could be worse. We could be, going to Saudi Arabia or something. It's fine. Speaking
of, I think Aston Villa are in Saudi Arabia to play a friendly tomorrow.
Right? Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Why?
Why do you think? The same reason everyone goes to Saudi Arabia.
It's mad, isn't it? Big teams trying to campaign to stop replays in the FA Cup because there's too much football, and then this sort of bullshit pops out of nowhere.
There's too much money. Football that isn't monetizable is what they mean.
Yes,
that's all it ever means. If there's an extra bit of cash somewhere, teams will definitely go for that.
Yeah, so it is actually in the UAE. It's at the Hazza bin Zayed Stadium where Al Ain play, but Aston Villa are listed as the home team.
Oh.
Yeah, very confusing.
Great bunch of lads.
Maybe they're giving him a treat of the best dressing room as the guest. Very hospitable.
Very hospitable. But this Scandi Scum Day will be good for the supporters in Scandinavia because we're playing up in Sweden, so that'll be nice. Tickets are 525 SEK, which is 40 quid, which is pretty good for a game of football. You thought they might be able to squeeze a little bit more out of that.
Yeah, particularly given a pint in Sweden's about that.
Yeah.
I think that's seems quite reasonable. We have more fans in Norway, don't we, than Sweden?
Yeah.
Would be my instinct on it, but it's probably more scum related than
We've been to Norway more recently, though, I think, so maybe they're just spreading the love around.
It's only an hour flight between Oslo and Stockholm, because I looked that up out of interest.
Yeah.
Because the amount of Norwegian Leeds fans who come over for pretty much every home game.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's incredible. So yeah, I wouldn't have associated us with Sweden quite so much.
I know there are a few. I know purely from sending out merch as much as anything. I know we do get some orders go to Sweden, but yeah, definitely more Norwegians.
Teddy Lukic.
Yeah, that's then the Brolin, obviously.
And Brolin,
some big links back to Sweden.
All the big guys.
There must be some others.
Swedish Leeds players. Can't think of any. TV fixtures are announced tomorrow for the is this for the rest of the season, or is it just up until
they're announcing it on a 4-week rolling basis, basically? So the fixtures that will be announced tomorrow are the Easter fixtures, so the 18th and the 21st,
right?
Which will almost certainly be moved, especially Easter Monday, because Burnley play Sheffield United.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way that's going to be at 3:00.
No,
although they are able to show it on TV, but
because it's Monday.
Yeah, you would imagine that'll be the evening game because it'll be the most riding on it. We'll probably kick off at 8:30 in the morning.
Something fucking stupid. It's just ridiculous. Didn't they pledge at the start of the season that they were going to make sure there was ample notice, and now they're on a 4-week rolling basis? What happened?
I think that pledge was for the start of the season. But when it gets to the interesting bit, they're like, oh no, we're going to need to move those a bit later because we need to know what is going to count, which you do understand. But I don't know, the whole way everything moves, it just makes me kind of long for them to rethink this stuff properly and either go, look, the games are at 3, but we can show them because that is less disruption for people than this. But then I suppose the argument is that they want the ad revenue from it as well.
But you're assuming there with that thought process that they give a tiny fuck about the fans.
Yeah.
They don't. It's never been about that.
Especially with Leeds where people will just go anyway.
Yeah.
It could be at 12:30 on a Sunday on the moon and there'll still be like 3,000 in the away end.
Yeah.
There'll be someone tweeting on the morning, any tickets?
Meeting at a service station on Mars.
Mad. But so those will get changed around, presumably. Just no more early kickoffs, eh?
There probably will be, but
but we don't do very well. So let's jump into the QPR player ratings. Not the best, but also not the worst. Unless we'll get to Brenden in a second. Wilf Nonso was the high, obviously coming on half time at 7.52. Jaden Bogle and Junior Firpo, our advanced attacking fullbacks, are up there as well, around about the 7 mark. Brenden, 2.28. Is that a season low for him? I don't think it is.
Oh, God.
I think it is.
Oh, is it?
It also follows up the game before, which is a 2.58.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, that was the Portsmouth game, maybe.
I do wonder if Nonso's high rating is based to an extent on him not being Brenden Aaronson, because he was decent when he came on, but I don't think he was the best player on the pitch, which is what that would reflect. It's just he was the best player who wasn't Brenden Aaronson potentially on the day.
Who would your vote have gone to?
I think Bogle.
Yeah, I think Bogle.
Yeah,
personally,
Bogle has been our best player for the last while. Probably our most consistent attacking threat.
Yeah,
and Leeds they definitely rely on him quite a bit now, more so than at the start of the season.
Since Christmas, maybe.
Him and Firpo both chipping in so much in the way of goals and assists this year. It's bloody Archie Gray didn't do anything last year, did he?
I know.
Pathetic. Finished footballer.
I think the lowest mark for a player this season was Max Weber, got 1.77 against Middlesbrough in the League Cup game.
That was an absolute shit show, in fairness. That was one of those where you go, oh, well, he's dropped down, he's reluctantly agreed to stick out at this level, and you saw him and everyone went, oh, God. He's really not bothered, is he?
No, I take that back. 1.26 Hull away, Melier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dear.
We have had some stinkers.
What did Melier get against Sunderland out of interest?
2.23.
That's
remarkably high.
I suppose the thing is, Hull is low as a result slightly of Sunderland as well, because that's people losing patience.
Yeah, and that was 2 clangers as well, rather than just 1.
And the lowest mark on the sheet is 1.
Yeah, we often get feedback saying, can we bring back the 0, please?
I'll consider it for next year, but I don't want to mess the system up. So I'll throw the averages out if I bring in a 0 now. For next season, I'll bring back 0.
Okay, good. We could always get Dan on it to come up with some fucking coefficient to level
that's a good idea.
out.
Yeah,
keep him busy.
Make it unnecessarily complicated.
Keep him busy. The guy, he's not well. He's fine.
I had a thought, by the way, in the middle of all that. We've not mentioned Pontus Jansson, Swedish. That's the obvious one.
There we go.
That we've missed.
I completely forgot.
There's bound to be someone else, but yeah, it just crossed my mind. I was like, Pontus. There you go. And there'll be people screaming at the
feed. Yeah,
at the radio.
Yeah, if you're listening to this on the radio, good for you. And he played for Sweden whilst he was playing for us. So how did that slip our minds?
No idea.
He just to touch on Pontus Jansson just for a quick second, because there's precious little to talk about today. He left and then evaporated from my memory. He was very important when he was here, and I loved him when he was here to a point. But then when he left, it's because we got the new shiny toy, Ben White.
We were better without him. There's also 2 other Swedish players, and one came into mind, and the other one then came into mind because of the first one. So the one that came into mind was Marcus Antonsson.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's playing in Australia, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, is he?
And then Pavel Cibicki.
Nice.
It's Swedish.
Right.
Nice.
I would never have got Cibicki as Swedish.
It's not a very Swedish sounding name, is it?
No.
So I think that probably throws you out of it. But yeah, is he still banned?
He is banned
because he was involved in some gambling stuff, wasn't he?
He's banned until the 12th of May.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
He's getting ready and raring to
Getting
go.
back in for the playoffs.
Yeah. Antonsen, I bet you had some hair chat about Antonsen when he was with us.
Do you know what? I don't think we did at the time. But
Beautiful head of hair.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice.
Shall we have a little chat about a couple of things that have come in on the mailbag, and then we'll get on to part 2, likes and dislikes. Patrick's asking, if we consistently can't manage early kickoffs, is there something fundamentally flawed in Farke's management and sports psychology? What hope promotion with so many early kickoffs left this season? Michael, of course you're an expert on sports psychology. What do you think is wrong with the boys? Why can we not just put these games to bed when they're kicking off slightly earlier than before?
Going to bed too late.
Right.
Probably it.
So we were going to take the PlayStations off them.
Yep. They're all up in a hotel, playing on the SNES, having some cans, and then they're just not getting to bed early enough. Too busy playing Mario Kart.
Right. Was that going to fix it?
Yes, take them off them.
Is it easy enough to say that these are just outliers, or is this a genuine problem?
I think it's twofold, because we've played so many early kickoffs compared to everyone else in the league, which has to be taken into account. But you've got to find a way around it. It's the same as going, well, Farke's team can't break down a low block. Find a way around it. That's what you pay the big money to do. In The Athletic this week, they spoke to, I think Barncross spoke to Matt Smith, who was asked about it, and basically his assessment was the only difference is you're eating chicken and pasta at 9 a.m. Like like other than that, it shouldn't really make a difference.
Yeah.
That actually it's the evening games that tend to make more of a difference because of how it wrecks your sleep pattern and, you know, having to prepare to play so much later in the day than what you normally would. It's possibly also because we play so many away games early in the day rather than home lunchtime games.
But again, that shouldn't matter necessarily because they're in a hotel nearby, aren't they? But is it just disrupting
It's
schedule?
just away form. We'll obviously we'll skew it more that way. The 2 lunchtime wins were both home games, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday and Derby.
Yeah.
So we haven't won away from home at lunchtime.
That sounds bad because there'll be more. There will be more between now and the end of the season.
And most of them have come while Ethan Ampadu has been unfit. I think that's massive. I've always been a big Ampadu advocate, and even whenever we were playing well with Rothwell and Tanaka in midfield earlier in the season, I still think Ampadu just adds so much more and adds things that are intangible.
Yeah, I think that's why I have ended up at various points wanting Ampadu to be both a starting centre-back and a starting centre midfielder for us, because I think in both positions he sort of improves those units.
Yeah.
Pascal is, I don't know, he's clearly a very good player for this level, and he's a very good footballer in terms of his passing and his composure and stuff. But sometimes he's just a little bit nice.
Yeah.
And Ampadu can be a bit of a twat.
Yeah.
which I think is vital on the pitch to have someone doing that.
Yeah, he is the big man for the big occasion as well. I don't know if I want to see him at centre back anymore. He is a midfielder playing in midfield.
Yeah.
There's also, I was quite keen on the idea of seeing Rothwell pushed forward with Tanaka and Ampadu in the midfield away from home, especially since we don't have a functional number 10. But obviously that requires you to rejig the system, and Farke just won't do it, so it'll not happen.
No, and this comes on to the next point that I pulled out from the mailbag, which is from Andy P. Do you think Farke doesn't trust this squad? He seems only willing to pick a starting 11 from 13 players, the 11 that started the past 2 games, plus Gruev and Ampadu. Is this something that we saw last season as well? Is this something that Farke does? He goes, right, that's my 11, and there's a little bit of moving pieces around, but otherwise he's very headstrong. These are the boys. And is this an issue?
See at the end of the season, I suppose.
As we are now, though, do you think it's an issue?
I think against Millwall, I thought there was an opportunity to rotate a winger, probably to give one of them a rest.
Yeah.
I think there's been an opportunity to try something different at number 10 at any point during the season, probably. At least in games in weeks when there's 2 games.
Yeah.
To just go, right, we'll try in maybe one of the easier home games of the 2 when maybe you can judge we don't need as much press. You can go, right, well, let's see how Nonsa does. Or you put Rothwell in and you rejig things. But I know he feels like Farke, he's desperate to stick with things that have worked in the past, which is, in fairness, a logical way of going about things until players drop off 5% because they're a little bit tired because they play too many games, and then you just go from just edging games to just losing games or drawing them, and it ultimately might cost us.
Yeah, I think the use of Ramazani has been quite troubling this season, because before his injury against Watford, he looked like he would potentially be Leeds' starting winger. Obviously Solomon has stepped up into that role, but like he hasn't really given him a chance since.
No,
with the exception of Harrogate in the cup, and even then, it's Harrogate in the cup. I would really hope that the starting front four is different for Swansea than it was against QPR, and I would maybe hope the Middlesbrough midweek game is factored in as well, because you've got Luton away, which is a game you really should be winning. You want to just be that little bit more ambitious, keep the wingers fresh for the big games, because you do want them. You do want James and Solomon, who are the first choice now. That's that. You don't want them running to the ground and then asking them to do more than they can in the big games in the last 3-4 games of the season, because it probably will come down to that. Use the other two at some point.
Yeah. You say you'd like a different front four. Magic one time, what would you do?
I would obviously love to see Nanto at 10. In the last couple of minutes, are just thinking that with Aronson not going on international duty, he probably will start. I could maybe see him going for Nanto plus one of James or Solomon. Probably Nanto and James, and bring Solomon off the bench.
Yeah.
But I think Solomon's been in much better form than Dan James in the last couple of weeks. So I think the problem is we don't have a natural left-footed winger. We have 4 right-footed wingers.
From Firpo. Plays where he fucking wants.
Well, he's more of a centre forward, as we've seen in recent weeks. But yeah, the Ramazani thing is weird. You almost wonder if he's, given the signing of him was fairly late, you almost wonder if he was a player that Farke desperately wanted in the first place, or whether or not he was like almost an extra and he treats him as such. I don't know, because when we've seen him, he's looked really good.
Yeah.
So I feel like he should have had a bit more game time probably.
Yeah.
But at the same time, for the most part, we've lost once since November, and James and Solomon have both been very good. So I can see why he's never changing it, but I suppose you're relying on maybe other people within the club, because they do monitor physical outputs and they kind of track everything, don't they, through training, through games and stuff. If they don't not seeing a physical drop off in the wingers, maybe they think they can keep playing them. But
yeah,
I don't know. To the eye test, it feels like in the past few weeks, both James and Solomon have dropped off from where they were at the peak when we were on that run of beating Cardiff and Coventry, and then the big games against Sheffield United and Sunderland. It does feel like since then they've had a bit of a dip. Albeit neither of them have played badly by any stretch, but it's not quite been hitting the heights.
Yeah, and it has worked, which is obviously why it hasn't been changed. But Farke did make note of Tanaka's performance against Portsmouth and saying that how he hasn't played a 46-game season, that this is the most football that he's ever played in a year. I would imagine it's the same story with Solomon. He didn't play a full 38-game season at any point, given his injuries. And then to go and play 46 in a very physical league is probably asking a lot of him. So you would like to see just some rotation at some point. But obviously, if they don't rotate and then they go out and beat Swansea, then I've just been talking bollocks for the last few minutes.
The thing is,
doesn't make a change.
We probably are. If Manos Solomon and Dan James are a bit tired, we should still have enough to beat Swansea.
Yeah,
is the truth of it. It's where it leaves you in the next game or the game after that when they've still not had a rest, I suppose, is the thing. So I'm in favour of a bit of rotation.
Same. Okay, part 2 on the update, we move on to likes and dislikes. This is probably going to be a bit of a slog, so we'll get through this because this comes after maybe not a particularly glamorous week. Off the top of your head, gents, what are we liking? What are we disliking? Michael Normanton, go.
Well, looking through these and also from memory, I don't know who was on co-coms, because generally speaking, if it's Hinchcliffe or Goodman, this sheet and my mind is full of complaints about them.
Yeah.
Who was it?
That's a good point, because
were they just fine?
The one thing they were going on about was how well Brenden Aronson had done last year at Union Berlin.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there was some sort of hipster commentators.
Well, they'd just not watched him.
Yeah,
It's more likely.
they were guessing.
They had guessed. They might have seen he scored like a few goals at some point and went, oh, yeah, he did really well there.
There's always loads of guessing on the Sky feed, though. Whenever we get a corner, they're always like, oh, here comes Rodon. He's always a threat from set pieces. What games have you been watching?
Yeah, he's no threat, is he? One goal in his career, one league goal in his career, I think, to this point. Yeah, I wouldn't concern yourself. But yeah, I just thought that was worth noting because it's generally like, if it's Hinchcliffe, he's probably the most nominated person every time he's near one of our games.
We just take our frustration out on him.
Exactly.
Chris, any likes and dislikes that popped into your head over the last 7 days?
I was just looking up the commentary team. I'm thinking because it wasn't the main game on Sky, we might have.
Yeah,
it might have been some absolute...
some chumps.
David Phillips provided co-commentary.
Oh, okay. I remember him. He was we have disliked him in the past, but I think he did a Leeds against Forest game, and he's an ex-Forest player.
Oh.
So I think at some point we've maybe had some beef with him for that.
What's his name?
David Phillips.
Dave Benson Phillips.
Dave, that's the guy. Chris won't know who that is. You're too young for Dave Benson Phillips.
I think so, yeah.
Oh no, maybe it's this chair that just gives out retro references. In the feedback form from our TSB.
The guy from Get Your Own Back.
Yeah, you might.
Yeah.
The Gunge guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
if you'd said that, I'd have got it. But
you might have thought he meant the Leicester bloke.
No. So on the feedback form that we get from our TSB Plus members, there is an awful lot of dislike around a particular American boy. It's fairly relentless. Actually, Aronson's assist for the opening goal gets a dislike. That was a terrible pass. Aronson not getting called up for the United States, so he can't get injured for the rest of the season is a dislike. Somebody's advocating for him to snap. That Sam is advocating for him to snap various ligaments. What can we find to like? I'm desperately searching for something to like here.
I think the best like came from Disco Stew, who said playing the second half with a number 10 who didn't just look like a coked up bee in a jar.
Terrific. Also from Andy P, a like was our fullbacks being centre forwards. That's fun to see.
Yeah, and very good finish. It's underrated is that finish from Bogle, I think.
Yeah.
It's a very, very calm head at that point to just place it into the far corner.
Yeah, Chris Elvo's asking Nonto at 10, why the fuck has he not played there more often? That's a question that we tried to touch on there about Daniel Farker. Another dislike further down the sheet here is from Sam Byron fan, and his dislike is London. He says, shit city, why do they need 400 football clubs anyways?
It's true enough, limit him to one.
Greedy. Which one?
I don't know.
Leyton Orient.
That was my instinct as well, and I don't know why.
Okay. Yeah. I'm happy to go with it.
And you just fold all of the clubs into Leyton Orient and they'd have the best team in the world.
But they still have to play at Brisbane Road.
Yeah.
Seems fair.
Yeah, sorted.
A dislike from Isaac. Frey, it's Frey, isn't it? Not Fry. Frey for simultaneously being a grizzled championship bastard, a bald fraud, and a big dumb oaf.
The trifecta of shit.
He was a fascinating player to watch. There was a bit, actually, I captured it. It wouldn't have come across on audio, but when I was looking for propaganda, someone was filming from the stand, and there was a bit where someone just passed the ball to him on the halfway line, and he tried about 3 touches to get it under control, and it just knocks it out of play. And I was like, how the fuck have we not beat this? Like, it genuinely looks like he's never ever seen a football before, and we managed to somehow draw that game. So, oh well.
Leeds United in it. Let's name a Ken Bates villain of the week. Who are our nominees?
Brendan Aronson seems very low hanging fruit.
Very.
Maybe we get Brenden and Frey. We maybe let them fight it out to see who wins it.
Okay. R.I.P. Brendan
Let's
Aronson.
see how it. I wonder how it'd go.
I think we all know how it goes. Any other? I'm gonna put London up there.
Yeah. Loftus Road, just generally, if we want to get really specific about it.
Yeah. When was the last time we won? Was that the Kamaru hat-trick game?
Yeah.
Yeah, that seems like
particularly that bit at Loftus Road where the ball comes near the touchline, near the camera, and you get vertigo because the camera has to point.
Yeah.
It's like a direct bird's eye view over the touchline.
Yeah, slipping
Very
off
strange.
the sofa. Any other nominations? Villain of the week? Brendy, London, early kickoffs.
There's really not much else.
Sorry.
We brought it upon ourselves.
Sorry, Brendy.
Brendy. Shit. Brendan Aronson. Ken Bates, villain of the week. Ooh, it feels like that's been coming though, to be fair. If we give him that, then maybe it gives him the spur on that we need for the rest of the season.
He might just cry.
Yeah, there is that. We move on now to the Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week, which is sponsored by the tuktukclub.com. This is described by the Sunday Times as the best driving holiday in the world. The Tuk Tuk Club gives you the chance to see a side of Thailand that few travellers ever see. Think winding mountain roads, towering forests, elephants, pristine waterfalls, jungle cookery, hill tribe stays, proper Thai food, and more than a hint of luxury. Do we fancy one of those? If this goes tits up and Leeds United stay in the Championship, do we just become tuk-tuk operators in northern Thailand?
I do go down little wormholes of watching travel YouTube people sometimes, and blokes who'll just walk like across Spain
into the sea,
and they'll just spend 6 months just walking across a country and like camping in fields and stuff. And I think,
sounds good.
That'd be all right. To be fair, just not film it though. Just do it for myself. I'd get bored though. I don't know. I'm kidding. Do
you think?
I think I prefer it probably when it's condensed down into an hour for me. But 6 months is a bit much, probably.
Well, what about if you were on a tuk-tuk tour in northern Thailand with a load of Leeds fans, Bruce, who runs the tuk-tuk club.
You get Wi-Fi as well.
You get Wi-Fi, so you can doom scroll.
You can still get yourself really in the thick of all the misery of Leeds United when you're there.
You can. Heroes of the week. What have we got? Slim pickings, but let's do it.
Jayden Bogle comes to mind first, but has he done enough to be a hero?
Just sort of played well.
Yeah, it's a low bar this week, I suppose.
It would feel a lot worse if we lost that game 2-1.
Yeah, that is true.
And like you've alluded to a couple of times, it's a good finish. You know, you can panic there and send that ball wide or high and mighty and over into the away fans. He's composed himself. He's tucked it in. And
he did get his booking again. Now he's allowed bookings. Straight away, didn't he? He'd been a good boy for a few games. Well, I say that. He did come across that ref who refused to book anyone against Millwall. So he kind of got lucky there. But he dodged his ban. He scored a goal. He's the obvious choice, I would say.
There is a like here from Jez on the feedback form that says for the line stress for not flagging us offside.
She was getting a hell of a lot of abuse from the QPR fans as well.
Yeah, they were much more cockney than I expected them to be. I've never been to West London, but I don't know. I just thought that it'd be all like throwing caviar at her or something. Right?
QPR is London's Irish team, isn't it?
Is that right?
I believe so.
Could well be. I don't know.
I looked to you as our Irish correspondent, but clearly that's not. I might have made that up.
I know the Gaelic team is the Fulham Gaels or Fulham something. I think it is. So
maybe
same part of the world.
Town. Yeah.
Maybe.
So we've got the Leinstress, we've got Bogle. Anything else on this week of all weeks?
International break for actually giving us time off.
Yeah, yeah.
But it could also be the villain because there's not really much to do.
Pochettino for giving Brenden a break.
Yeah, true.
To try and recharge his little batteries. You don't care.
I don't care.
Fair enough. So it's not him. Bogle.
Yeah.
Bogle, on a week where we're struggling, let's give it to the guy who rescued us a point. And we've just said he's probably been the best player for us for a little while now. Certainly attacking.
Yeah. After a difficult first month or so, it's been brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, pretty much all season. And the first month was probably not as bad as we thought at the time. It's just there were a few defensive bits where you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But now you've realised he's not really a defender.
He looked like a mirror image of Firpo just on the other side for a moment.
It took Junior Firpo 3 years to become semi-decent as a fullback.
True.
Yeah, in 3 years we'll be plugging Bogle mugs in here. And he's got a nice little beard, which is nice.
That is true.
Jayden Bogle is our Gaetano Berardi Hero of the Week. Thanks for stopping by. There'll be more shows out across the international break. When they come out, I do not know because we are currently in discussion about when things are going to be placed, but there will be stuff here. And of course, you can bet that we'll be back for the match ball versus Swansea City. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you later. Thank you.
The Square Ball Podcast.